Ever since the first FNaF movie teaser trailer dropped, one question has been on my mind. Will it actually be scary, or will it just be a fun thriller packed with a Mario movie amount of game references? The best way to get an answer to that question is to review just about every scene that Blumhouse has given us. But before we look through all of that footage, we need to define what makes a movie scary in the first place. A good horror movie has three main elements. It's relevant to the audience, it has characters that the audience cares about, and it features a monster or evil threat that's both familiar and unfamiliar at the same time. The audience needs to care about the characters because we want them to feel fear when those characters are in danger. Next, the premise of the movie needs to be relevant to the audience. The monster in the movie Lights Out is a good example. It appears when the light is turned off, as the name suggests, and its premise is rooted in the fear of the dark, a feeling that everyone has felt at some point, but it's presented in a paranormal and terrifying way. Now that we've got some basic rules for what makes a movie scary, let's look at the snippets of the movie that Blumhouse has revealed to us, with these guidelines in mind. The teaser trailer starts with a vintage training tape for new security guards at Freddy's Pizzeria. Showing a training tape is a great way to show the pizzeria in its prime, instead of relying on forced flashbacks, and it helps sell the idea that Freddy's really used to be alive and bustling with activity. The scene abruptly cuts from the tape to a shot of present-day Freddy's to reflect how the place suddenly closed at the peak of its popularity. Ambience reminiscent of the iconic soundtrack from the first game drones as Mike walks through the dining area in a wide shot, highlighting how deserted and massive the place is. He pulls back the show stage curtain to look at the animatronics, which look huge. The office is set up almost exactly how it is in the original game. The next shot gives us a perfect recreation of the show stage camera from the original game. Mike looks around the dining room again, oblivious to the giant metal bear standing behind him. The trailer ends with Foxy finding Abby in a ball pit, and a shot of Freddy and Bonnie staring angrily down at something or someone. There is some horror potential in the focus on ghost kids and the sound design, but many people weren't happy with the over-the-top murder devices and the lack of blank stares the animatronics had. The first official trailer was what dropped all of the bombshells. It showed us what all of the environments would look like, and offered some better looks at all of the animatronics. Drawings made by various children and Abby appeared everywhere. The rabbit drawing in the dirt hit so hard. It's such a simple image, but in this context, it means a lot to FNaF fans and creates curiosity in everyone else. Vanessa will probably be a phone guy stand-in in the movie, especially considering the scene with Mike visiting her in the hospital, showing that she may suffer a similar fate. The trailer also has a couple of jump scares, namely the pizzeria activating and waking Mike up, and the hand reaching out of Freddy and grabbing Max. But the two biggest details by far were the appearance of Golden Freddy and Spring Bonnie. We only get a brief glimpse of Spring Bonnie, which is perfect, especially for the first trailer. Barely seeing him makes him much more ominous. Golden Freddy looks very silly sitting in the taxi, which is fine because Golden Freddy appears to be a friendly character at this point in the movie, so no point in trying to make him scary. The second trailer had a lot of similarities to the official trailer, right down to a lot of the shots either being reused or taken from the same scenes. The trailer starts with some really nice silence in comparison to the pure chaos of the previous two trailers. Everyone hates on Mr. Cupcake's bite of 23, but to be honest, it would be pretty horrific to realize that the little thing is alive and wants to lobotomize you. The trailer showed us some clearer shots of the animatronics up close, and we got an extended version of the hand jump scare scene. And then there was this. This was the first clear look at Spring Bonnie in the entire FNaF franchise. Think about that for a second. The sound effect and the ominous laughter fit very well together, and Spring Bonnie looks perfect. The TV spots that fans have found have a lot of cool stuff going on, instead of just being shorter versions of the full trailers. In these TV spots, we get new shots of all of the animatronics. All of them double down on horror strings and childlike laughter. Vanessa says that she used to love Freddy's as a kid, which opens up the possibility of her witnessing some of the events that caused it to close, since she knows a lot about it in a lot of the other trailers that we've seen. Abby built herself a little fort to sleep in while Mike's on the job, which is probably night one activities if I had to guess. Something tells me she wouldn't be able to sleep very well after discovering that the animatronics are alive. We also get a shot of the entire dining area lit up and Foxy's Pirate Cove is surprisingly close to the show stage. Another scene shows the animatronics huddled in a circle, staring blankly at something below them. The lighting is perfect, the characters look perfect, and the way Bonnie's ear twitches is incredible. We get a shot of Abby glaring at someone or something while Foxy stalks closer to her. These TV spots are phenomenal, but one stands out with one shot that I've been thinking about all week. Vanessa says,
"Security hires never last."
Interesting quote. And then we see a different angle of Spring Bonnie wiping his knife with his head tilted down to show his crooked smile at the top of the frame. In the background, green spotlights move frantically across the dining area. Spring Bonnie slowly turns to look at Mike, cocking his head, while a manic scream and strings play in the background. The way he moves is so incredibly menacing. This is the type of stuff that will make the movie stand on its own as a real horror movie. If you made it this far in the video, leave a cupcake in the comments, or a rabbit, I don't really care. Spring Bonnie takes almost every issue I've had with the rest of the movie and flips it on its head. I think he'll be the highlight and main threat of the movie. As long as they don't turn him into the cliche mustache-twirling villain, the other animatronics will serve as decoys of sorts until we realize they're past who they are and then who the real big bad is. Spring Bonnie doesn't fall victim to the same problem that the other characters seem to have. In every shot we've seen of him, he's hiding in the shadows, especially in the blurry shots in the first official trailer. It's clear that they're treating the character with respect and making sure he's as intimidating as possible. The fact that a human is inside the suit instead of it just being an animatronic entirely changes the dynamic. Now that we've run through all of the major things that we've seen so far, let's get back to our main question. Is there any chance this movie is actually going to be an effective horror movie? The trailers show that Mike, Abby, and Vanessa will be likable characters. That covers our characters that the audience can connect to, and it definitely doesn't hurt that Josh Hutcherson is Mike. Obviously, we don't know how fleshed out the characters will be exactly, but they're looking good so far. The general concept is relevant to a lot of people, either because the internet has carved the idea of Freddy Fazbear into their brains through years of repetition, or because they grew up in the era of animatronic entertainment. What about the monster? Again, the basic idea of the fear of animatronic mascots is pretty widespread, but FNaF takes things a whole lot deeper. The children that possess the animatronics gives the audience a reason to pity and fear them at the same time. If the movie explores the tremendous terror of realizing that these are tortured souls ripped from life at the wrong time, I truly believe that the movie will be pretty creepy. Mischievous laughter coming from the animatronics has been used heavily in the trailers and TV spots, and I know it'll work great in the movie if they use it right. Guess who's back? Spring Bonnie's main role in the movie will be to break all of the norms that the movie set. He takes the fear of animatronics and subverts it. What if the animatronic that you're afraid of is actually a person pretending? By this point in the movie, we're probably starting to get used to the animatronic's robotic movements, but Spring Bonnie's more human movements and calculated movements will probably be unsettling and uncomfortable to see in contrast to the other animatronics. I really hope we get a flashback of him luring the children to the back room. Just imagine him beckoning you over to him and talking in a soothing tone. If you're looking for a monster presented in a familiar and unfamiliar way at the same time, look no further than Spring Bonnie. The unfamiliarity aspect is even more significant when you realize that this will be the first time in all of FNaF history that we get to see Spring Bonnie in action, outside of maybe an 8-bit minigame or an in-universe VR game. No matter what, the FNaF movie is going to be a great time. We've waited 8 years for this movie, and the fact that it even exists is enough for me. I already love the movie based on some of the shots in the trailer, whether it's scary or not, and Spring Bonnie is peak. If you like this video, stay tuned for my video on my predictions for the FNaF movie plot, but until then, shout out to my current channel members. Thanks for watching. Hype for the movie.